Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of She Talks Business. This is going to be a juicy episode. So, are you ready? Have you ever opened your inbox, or maybe better yet, one of those LinkedIn direct messages and immediately went, wow, I didn't ask for this awkward pitch from a stranger who literally sent me a connection request 2 seconds ago because they wanted to get to know me better and liked my content, and now they're trying to sell me something? If so, congratulations. You have been pitch slapped. Doesn't feel very good, does it? None of us like it. If you've ever sent a message that is something like, hey, first name, I help people just like you scale to 7 figures in 10 minutes using AI. I can get you 300 leads a week. Want to book a call? We need to talk. Stop. Please, please, please don't do that. I mean, there's so much wrong with these messages. I get messages like this all the time, and they're so canned. They say they love what I'm doing at the Lisa Larter company. Like, no shit, Sherlock, that's my name. And they offer me 300 leads a week through AI. Like, who's got time for 300 leads a week? Like, do you even know what my business is? Oh, and they're going to help me scale to 7 figures. Like, sorry, honey, that was like 2017 ago. Like, I don't need you to help me scale to 7 figures. Been there, done that with a couple of companies, and have helped a bunch of my clients do it too. So no relationship, no context, no understanding of what I need, no understanding of me. It is nothing but a total pitch slap, and it's happening everywhere, and it's not helping you. It's hurting you. And it's going to get even worse with AI, because people are going to automate all these little pitch slaps into their workflows and think that AI is going to deliver them the gold rush of sales. Well, guess what? It's not going to work. Nobody wants to be sold to that way. So stop thinking that there is an easy button when it comes to selling, because there's not. So let's talk a little bit about what cold pitching really is. Cold pitching is unsolicited direct messages, podcasts, trying to book a call or trying to get on my podcast, for example, with zero relationship. I get pitched at least once a day by random strangers who want to be on my podcast. And by the way, we're opening up an option for that. It's going to be a paid option though, because my team spends a ton of time, effort, and money producing this show. So if you're going to pitch me to be on my show, get ready to receive a pitch back. I'm going to offer you the opportunity for some moolah. And if you are a good fit, because money alone can't buy you access, then maybe you can be on the show. But here's the thing. We get these unsolicited messages all day long. Like, I ignore LinkedIn. And then every so often, I'm like, oh my God, I should be on LinkedIn more, because sometimes a real legitimate person reaches out and they're interested in a service that I have, and they're buried amongst the 10 random pitches from strangers that I have received. It's lazy marketing, and it is disguised as hustle. People make you think, I got to reach out and do all these cold moves all the time. I had a coaching call with a client of mine last month, and you know what I said to her? I said, I want you to reach out to people on LinkedIn, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach out to people you know. I want you to reach out to people you've done business before. I want you to reach out for the purpose of investing in the relationship. Check in on your peeps, see how they're doing, care about them a little bit. And I write about the care method in my book, Masterful Marketing, the one I published with Alan Weiss. So if you haven't read the book, check it out. People don't want strangers showing up in their emails or inboxes selling them stuff that they are not looking for. You may think it is proactive, but in reality, it could be hurting your brand. Because if I'm offended by the message that you just sent me, there's a couple of things that happen. One, I think you have no idea who I am or what I do, or you wouldn't have sent me that message. And two, I think you must be, pardon my language, a dumbass to actually send me a connection request and then immediately send me a pitch. It makes no sense. The same as these cold emails that people subscribe me to without my permission. And if you don't want to hear from me anymore, just press reply. How about don't pitch me in the first place? That would be a better thing to do. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the data. I did a little bit of research on this, and 95% of buyers aren't in market right now. which means they are ignoring or instantly dismissing your pitch because they're not ready to buy yet. Salesforce says that on average, 6 to 8 touch points are needed before someone even thinks about buying. So sorry, that one comment you put on my LinkedIn post before you sent me a message pitching me wasn't enough. You needed to do at least 8 of them. 57 to 70% of the buying decisions happen, according to Gartner, before somebody even reaches out to you. This goes back to something I've been talking about forever. People are creeping you. They are Googling you. They're checking your content. They're asking other people about you before they make contact. All this social media content that you put out there, it's like this web. And people are always wanting to know the direct call to action, the direct line to do business. It's not always that simple. Sometimes somebody somewhere has a conversation about you with someone else. And then that someone else goes back to their office and they do a little Googling and they do a little searching and they check you out and they go down a little rabbit hole and then they make a decision as to whether or not they resonate with you and whether or not they might want to do business with you. If you didn't have all that content out there, there is no rabbit hole for them to go down. So they're immediately going to go, I'm not sure. And an unsure person doesn't make a buying decision. Look at the economy right now. All the stuff going on with tariffs, the economy is uncertain. And there's a lot of people not making buying decisions. Look at the housing market. It's not moving because people are uncertain. So when you don't have content out there to help people feel certain about their buying decisions, they're going to delay making a decision or reaching out. 76% of buyers expect businesses to understand their needs before pitching them. 2 seconds. Ask AI, who's Lisa Larter? 2 seconds on my website. And you can learn enough about me to know that I have zero desire for 300 leads a week. And 7 figures is old news. So do a little bit of research at least before you reach out to people. We have got to get smarter. We've got to stop acting like we're marketing back in 2005 and think that those things are working because they're not. When you cold pitch without context, people don't trust you. So why would you diminish your brand and the ability to build relationships with people by doing something that automatically makes somebody not trust you? You're playing a gambling game. It's like you're at the slot machine and you're just cranking the handle hoping that one of these things is going to pay. And chances are you're going to do a lot of cranking before you get any payback. And when you do get payback, I'm going to guess that you're going to get the wrong buyer fit and that sale is not going to wear well. It's going to be a nightmare. So let's talk a little bit about the hidden damage of cold pitching. You might justify it as prospecting or doing outreach, but really you're making a bad first impression. You're burning a bridge instead of building it. And you're getting screenshotted and laughed at in group chats. I mean, in some cases, people are screenshotting your messages and they're sharing them on LinkedIn to say, like, dude, don't do this to me. Why would you take a chance? You don't want your name to be a trigger for, oh my God, stop. You want your name to be, oh, that person's cool, that person's helpful, I like that person. You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression, especially online. So be very careful how you treat that new connection. Be very careful how you send those emails so that you're not actually damaging your reputation before you have a chance to even start a relationship with someone who could be a great buyer. So here's what you want to do instead. You don't want cold pitching. You don't want to be a pitch slapper yourself. You want to warm people up. You want to do things that actually make people resonate with you. You want to focus on relationship over reach. I'd rather have 10 buyers who care about me than 1,000 potential buyers who don't. You want to focus on value over volume. You want to know that the value you are providing is going to go the distance. You're not selling pens. You're not selling toothpicks. You're not in a commoditized industry. So focus on value and relationship and you will win all the way. Here's how you do this. First, show up with content. People want to know what you know before they do business with you. They want to know about you. They want to know your personality. They want to know you have expertise. So you need to show up on a regular basis so that people know what you talk about before they engage with you. They need to know the baseline of who you are and what you bring to the table. You need to warm up the connection. So how do you warm up a connection? Like some of their content. Comment. Don't use AI to auto-comment for you. Comment sincerely. Share their content if you think it's good. Add value before you ask for attention. And be patient. I had this dude, all of a sudden he starts liking, commenting on all my LinkedIn stuff. And then of course, what do I get? I get a connection request followed by a pitch. I'm like, dude, like I can smell insincerity a mile away and I'm not the only one. Actually be a little bit patient. Stop acting like, on the first date. Like, don't do that stuff. Nobody likes it. It's not becoming. It just makes you look like an idiot. Create curiosity, not pressure. So when you're sharing content online, talk about what you do. Share stories of a client win. Share stories about what you're doing so people can see what you do. I regularly will share things related to my Action Accelerator. I just finished an Action Accelerator. It was a really great conversation. The client and I worked on ABC. They said this at the very end. I don't even out who the client is. I just tell a little bit of a story so that people are like, oh, what's an Action Accelerator? Maybe I need one of those because I can relate to that person's story. Every person you do business with is different. Every story is different. Use stories as a way to warm up potential leads by letting them see what you are capable of and letting them see the wins that you get for your clients. And then finally, try sending some no pitch messages. Like, people are skeptical. I'm still skeptical. I'm like, where's the pitch? I'm waiting for the slap. I know it's coming. But like, send a message and say, I saw this post and I really appreciated, your perspective on this. Like, think in terms of conversation starters, not pitching. If all you're doing is pitching, you are turning people off of what you do. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a client of mine. This client went from $30,000 a year to over $3 million in the last 6 years of their business. And they did this by listening, not by pitching. People do too much of this and not enough of this. Too much yapping, pitching, and not enough listening. Simple formula. They showed up on Facebook groups and they searched for questions. And they regularly showed up and gave away information for free to help people in all of these communities by answering questions and demonstrating what they knew how to do. They didn't say, I can help you with that, DM me for my fees. They showed up and added value over and over and over and over again. They continue to do that. They also go out to regular in-person events and they have built relationships with other business owners. And because of the strength of those relationships, those people are now their referral network. They tell people about this person all the time because they've done a really, really great job of nurturing and maintaining relationships. And so because they've shown up and helped, because they were smart enough to listen, and because they've built great relationships, the leads that they get are great quality, high converting, long retention type leads. They get customers who want to do business with them, seeking them out. They don't have to pitch. They don't have to pitch slap anybody because they got enough leads knocking on their door to sustain their business and help their business to grow. They built a brand that attracts people instead of annoys people. And you can do that too. Don't fall prey to pitch slapping. Don't buy into all the automation that's just going to make you look like everyone else and end up getting you blocked and hidden and not listened to. That's what's going to happen. So here's what you need to do. Cold outreach is outdated, ineffective, and bad for your brand. Pitch slapping has essentially replaced cold calling, and nobody liked cold calling either. Buyers want connection, credibility, and trust, not spam. They don't want these messages that do not resonate with who they are. They don't want sales pitches from strangers. They want to be able to check you out and know that you're the real deal before they reach out to you. So here's what I want you to do. 1, I want you to audit your messages. Are you being relevant and respectful when you interact with people, or have you fallen into the pitch slap cycle? If you've fallen into the pitch slap cycle, stop. Lead with generosity. Lead with service and value, and see how that works for you instead. Pick one platform to show up and offer value on a regular basis, like a daily basis. Say to yourself, where can I go and add value? Is there a community I could be part of? And like, here's a cheat code for you. When you join a Facebook group or you join a LinkedIn group and there's a little search magnifying glass, search the word, like either the word question or a question mark. There's questions galore that you can answer. And guess what? It doesn't matter how old they are, because you showing up and answering the question your way actually gets that particular post higher up in the algorithms in that group, and people see you. What's old is new again. Go look for those questions and show up and share value. And then when you're doing this stuff, ask yourself, would I respond if I was the recipient of this? If I get a notification and somebody posted this answer, or if I get a notification and somebody sent this message to me, would I respond or would I ignore it? And if you look at what you're doing, you think I would probably ignore that, then you're not doing good enough. You got to work a little bit harder at building relationships. And if you're not sure how to do this and you want my help, maybe you should consider an action accelerator. This is not pitch slapping. This is me giving you all kinds of value for free on this podcast and letting you know that I have clients that have generated millions of dollars in their business by using practices that honor people, that are relationship focused, that are value focused, not schemy, slimy, spammy, pitchy, cold calls, and pitch slap emails. You don't like it? I don't like it. Let's be part of the crowd that stops doing this once and for all. Here's what I'd love to hear. I'd love to see a picture of the best pitch slap you ever received. I'd love to put together a slider and I'll block out the names. I won't like shame people publicly because that's not who I am. But I'd love to see some of the worst pitches you've received and why. And I'm going to put together a little thing and share some of this to show people why this stuff doesn't work. So if you have a pitch slap and you want to share it with me, email it to me, lisa@lisalarter.com. Thanks for listening to this episode. It was a little bit of a rant. I'm getting a little fired up about these pitches. And I also want to give a shout out to Bree on my team, who came up with the beautiful title of pitch slapping, because I was complaining about all these pitches and she's like, you just got pitch slapped. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that. I have to talk about that. More like I have to rant about that. Thanks for listening and stay tuned. We've got some awesome guest interviews coming up on the show over the next little while that I think you're really going to enjoy. Talk to you later.